In the top stories, Prime Minister Drew calls for urgent climate financing and global cooperation at high-level meeting. Health experts sound alarm over Jamaica's declining birth rate, and UN General Assembly approves a blueprint to address global threats. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, 23rd September 2024. I'm Scotticia Hendrickson. Nationally, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew made a strong appeal for climate financing and global cooperation during a high-level working lunch on international climate policy hosted by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Samoan Prime Minister Faim Mataafa. The meeting took place on Sunday, September 22nd at the Permanent Mission of Germany in New York and brought together leaders from small island developing states, the Commonwealth and CARICOM. Dr. Drew highlighted the critical challenges faced by vulnerable nations, particularly in addressing climate change and reforming international financial structures. He stressed the severe impact of climate change on small island developing states, including extreme weather, rising sea levels, and high cost of adaptation. In St. Kitts and Nevis, a single hurricane can wipe out more than 100% of our GDP, Dr. Drew said, illustrating the vulnerability of small island nations. He also spoke about the country's struggle with severe drought and the costly investments in desalination plants, which diverts funding from essential services like healthcare and education. The Prime Minister warned of the threat to underground aquifers from saltwater intrusion and the tourism sector's decline due to deep beach erosion. He urged for increased financial support for adaptation efforts and emphasized the need for collective action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The meeting, attended by leaders from Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other CARICOM nations, also discussed renewable energy solutions. Dr. Drew highlighted the role of green energy in reducing dependence on fossil fuels and creating jobs, while also calling on major polluters to cut emissions to protect vulnerable islands. Chancellor Scholz and Prime Minister Mataafa affirmed the importance of global solidarity in combating climate change and pledged to explore financial mechanisms to support affected nations. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, held a productive bilateral meeting with Saudi Arabia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Prince Faisal bin Farhan bin Abdullah, on Sunday. The meeting took place at Saudi Arabia's permanent mission at the United Nations in New York, following a warm reception by Faisal bin Fadel bin Mohsen Al Ibrahim, Saudi Arabia's Minister of Economy and Planning. The discussion built upon the outcomes of the CARICOM Saudi Summit held in October 2023, with a focus on enhancing bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Both leaders explored opportunities for joint efforts to address global challenges, advance sustainability, and improve resilience, reinforcing diplomatic ties between the two nations. Prime Minister Drew was joined by Senior Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, St. Kitts and Nevis's permanent representative to the UN, Her Excellency Dr. Myrtis Williams, and Permanent Secretary Naima Hazel. Dr. Drew emphasized that the meeting highlights St. Kitts and Nevis's commitment to expanding international partnership in areas of mutual benefit and global importance. In a thrilling encounter in Taruba, Trinbago Knight Riders secured a 7-wicket victory over St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, ending the latter's 2024 Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League or CPL season. The Patriots, who won their first match of the tournament, have since suffered a string of defeats, with this loss being particularly painful after they posted an imposing 193 for 4. Patriots captain Andre Fletcher was the standout performer, smashing 93 off 61 balls, including 6 towering sixes. His brilliant knock ended just shy of a century when Chris Jordan had him caught by Kieran Pollard at long off. Jordan was also pivotal with the ball, taking a sharp return catch off Kyle Mayers. The Knight Riders were relentless in their chase. Jason Roy set the tone with a rapid 64 from 34 deliveries before Nicholas Perrin sealed the win with an emphatic fashion. Perrin hammered a flat 6 to finish the match, remaining unbeaten on 93 from 43 balls, including 13 boundaries and 7 sixes. Despite multiple drop chances by the Patriots, Perrin's innings earned him Player of the Match honors. With the win, the Knight Riders boosted their net run rate, joining Barbados Royals and Guyana Amazon Warriors on 10 points, while the Patriots' difficult campaign came to a close. In regional news, several health experts have warned that Jamaica's declining birth rate could jeopardize the island's aspiration for developed country status, urging immediate action to reverse the trend and address the socio-economic factors contributing to the issue. Among them is former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Reginald Budham, who said the island's declining birth rate is a serious problem. Speaking at a recent forum hosted by the Hugh Winter Institute of Reproductive Health Care and Endoscopic Surgery at the University of the West Indies, Budhan emphasized the urgent need for action to reverse the trend. Jamaica's Population Health Status Report from 2000 to 2002, tabled in Parliament earlier this year, reveals a troubling decline in the country's birth rate. The crude birth rate, which measures live births per 1,000 people annually, dropped by 10.2% 2 points from the 2000 and 2022. Jamaica has also fallen below the replacement fertility rate of 2.1 needed to sustain the population, with the current rate at 1.9%. Other experts at the forum echoed Bunham's concerns. Dr. Gath MacDonald, senior medical officer at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, highlighted the socio-economic implications of a low birth rate and stressed the need to focus not only on fertility, but also on addressing infertility issues. The Democratic Labour Party, or DLP, has officially rejected Prime Minister Mia Mottley's invitation to join the newly established National Advisory Council on Citizen Security. In a public briefing held on Saturday at the opposition leader's office in Hicks Street, Ralph Thorne and the party's spokesperson on Home Affairs and the Attorney General's office, Verla De Pisa, cited concerns about the council's lack of critical security figures and criticized the government's emphasis on vehicle tinting regulations rather than violent crime. The decision comes as Barbados grapples with a rise in violence, prompting the government to create a council to address national security issues. However, the DLP's leadership expressed doubts about the effectiveness of the council and pointed to the absence of stakeholders such as the Commissioner of Police and the head of the Barbados Defense Force, whose experts they argue is crucial for the task at hand. Thorne explained that after consulting with the DLP's Executive Council, the party decided to decline the invitation. In international news, the UN General Assembly has approved a blueprint to bring the world's increasing divided nations together to tackle 21st century challenges. Those range from climate change and artificial intelligence to escalating conflicts and increasing inequality and poverty. The 42-page Pact for the Future challenges leaders of the 193 UN member nations to turn promises into real actions that make a difference to the lives of the world's more than 8 billion people. The pact was adopted at the opening of the two-day summit of the future called by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He said the group was gathered to, as he put it, bring multilateralism back from the brink, end quote. It includes 56 actions on issues including eradicating poverty, mitigating climate change, achieving gender equality, promoting peace and protecting civilians, and reinvigorating the multilateral system to seize the opportunities of today and tomorrow. Secretary General Guterres singled out several key provisions in the Pact of the Future and two accompanying annexes, a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. The Pennsylvania plant is one of the few facilities in the country that manufactures 155 millimeters howitzer shells. Ukrainian President Zelensky visited a Pennsylvania ammunition factory on Sunday and thanked the workers producing howitzer shells, one of the most critically needed munitions for his country's fight to fend off Russian group forces. It is in places like this where you can truly feel that the democratic world can prevail, he quoted on X. Thanks to people like these in Ukraine, in America, and in all partner countries who work tirelessly to ensure that life is protected, end quote. The Sankron plant is one of few facilities in the country that manufactures 155 millimeters of artillery shells. Production has increased over the past year, and Ukraine has already received more than 3 million of them from Washington. Zelensky's visit kicked off a busy week in the U.S. He will speak on the UN General Assembly annual meeting gathering in New York on Tuesday and Wednesday before traveling to Washington for talks on Thursday with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. It comes as he seeks to shore up support for Ukraine. And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy. Winds are variable at 2 to 14 miles per hour. The temperature is 27 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. The weather forecast for today predicts partly cloudy skies with a 60% or moderate chance of showers and a 20% or slight chance of thunderstorms. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:06 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:01 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Scotty Hendrickson.